We remain firm and uncompromising, Mr. President, in our opposition to terrorism in all forms and manifestations as well. Terrorism is among the most egregious violations of human rights. We look at this Council and to the United Nations at large to advocate zero tolerance for terrorist acts. Mr. President, let me begin by congratulating you on your election as President of the Council. I assure you of India's full support and cooperation during the 61st session of the Human Rights Council. India began this high-level segment as an elected member of the Human Rights Council. Our mandate reflects the trust and expectations of the international community, especially of partners in the Global South. As the world's largest democracy, India remains firmly committed to working with all members and observers to promote and protect all human rights for all people on the basis of equality, openness, and respect. Mr. President, for us, human rights are not abstract ideals, but an integral part of our civilizational ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam that sees the world as one family. We firmly believe that the deliberations in this Council must translate into tangible improvements in the daily lives of the most vulnerable, transcending statements and resolutions. In recent years, the devastating impact of the pandemic, climate change, geopolitical tensions, and economic stress have exacerbated existing inequities. For many communities, these translate into lost years of schooling, pressures on food and fuel security, and mounting debt burdens. All these erode the promise of human rights and backsliding on the achievement of sustainable development goals. We speak from our experience as a developing country that has known poverty and external shocks and yet has chosen the path of democracy, pluralism, and social justice. India has been investing in developing human capacities at an unprecedented scale. Our digital public infrastructure, DPI, including digital identity, interoperable payments, and inclusive service delivery platforms, have enabled hundreds of millions to access welfare benefits, financial services, and public schemes with transparency and minimal leakage. Our DPI experience has also been shared as a global public good with our partners, reaffirming that technology can and must be a force multiplier for human rights, not a new fault line. Mr. President, in a world marred by conflict, polarization, and uncertainty, India seeks to find and expand common ground. We have consistently underlined dialogue over confrontation, consensus over division, and human-centric development over narrow interests. Our vision is rooted in the understanding that the insecurity of any region or the marginalization of any group eventually undermines the rights and well-being of all. India approaches this Council with the conviction that human rights are best advanced through dialogue, capacity building, and genuine partnerships, and not by politicization, selectivity, or double standards. Over the years, India's humanitarian outreach has been guided by empathy rather than just geography. Whether through disaster relief, medical supplies, vaccines, food grains, or development partnerships, India has been a dependable partner of first resort for many. We remain firm and uncompromising, Mr. President, in our opposition to terrorism in all forms and manifestations as well. Terrorism is among the most egregious violations of human rights, and there can be no justification, especially when innocent lives are targeted. Confronting terrorism requires collective resolve, and we look at this Council and to the United Nations at large to advocate zero tolerance for terrorist acts. Mr. President, let me conclude by reiterating India's commitment, drawing on its own democratic experience, to contribute towards the promotion and protection of human rights for all. I thank you.